Hello, everyone. My name is Gillian Strain. I'm the Chief Exec of GoHealth, and I am delighted to be here today with Kris Kramer, who is Director of Ministry at Acorn Christian Healing Foundation. Now, GoHealth and Acorn, hi Kris, I'll wave to you.
Hi.
GoHealth and Acorn for both have for many years been engaged in sharing the healing ministry of Jesus Christ and helping to resource and empower Christians in the healing work of God. And today, Kris and I are going to have a brief conversation together as there's some significant changes happening at Acorn, and we want to invite you all on that journey. So, Kris, I'm glad to be in conversation with you today. How are you?
I'm great. It's really good to see you and to do this.
Absolutely. So we're here today because Acorn has been navigating a really tough season. I know you and I know you, Kris, and the Acorn trustees have been prayerfully discerning where God is leading you all. And recently you've reached a really difficult decision that the Acorn Christian Healing Foundation, as an independent charity, must close. So this is a really tender time. And just to say right from the outset that me personally and everybody here at GoHealth are really thinking of you and praying for you. But I know we've been having conversations for a while, and that's what we're talking about today. But I've also heard you speak really clearly of this season being one of hope, of pondering what next, and of wondering with us where God is guiding all of us at this time. So, on the practical side, what you may not know if you're listening today is that when a charity closes, there can be an option to approach another organization who do similar sort of work to see if they'd be willing to help continue the work and honor the legacy of what it's been doing. And this is where we as GoHealth come into this conversation. Now, last December, 2025, Kris, you approached us for that kind of conversation. And currently, right now, today, we're in March 2026. Our respective boards are exploring if GoHealth can be a sustainable and fruitful home from which for the ministry and legacy of Acorn to find a place and to continue.
Yeah.
So, Kris, I'd love to just get into and explore a bit with you. Why did you
Mhm.
pick up the phone last December? What prompted you? What did you see in GoHealth that you thought that would be a useful conversation? And what is it, I wonder, about us that gives you confidence that we might be a good fit for what you need?
Yeah, it's amazing when you said that. I started realizing how long we really have been in a time of discernment.
Mm.
It's really been a Holy Spirit driven time for all the people in leadership at Acorn. And so I guess when I was thinking about the various organizations out there doing healing ministry, um, especially in the UK, Go Health was something that kept popping up. I had people that would say, "Hey, check out Go Health." And there were so many things that Go Health was already doing that I had put on my kind of 5 year plan with Acorn in the hopes that maybe in 5 years we would be able to offer some of the things that were already being offered at Go Health. And I remember at one meeting I said, why don't we consider doing more together with Go Health? And so as we began considering our own future and considering kind of what was happening with Acorn, I continued to be drawn. And I think it was a spiritual thing. I was drawn back to Go Health and to your holistic vision of healing. I love the partnership that Go Health celebrates between medicine and faith and science. And so I believe that Acorn really does have a whole lot that maybe we bring to Go Health that enhance the offerings that Go Health already has. And I really think that, I mean, maybe more than anything, from our initial conversations, Gillian, my real comfort with you personally has helped me because you're such a great person of faith, and I think that the Acorn community will also like you as well. And I think that there's something about this comfort level that gives me a feeling that Bishop Maddox's vision and the legacy of Acorn can be planted beautifully within the heart of Go Health. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Mm. Well, thank you for saying that, Kris. And when you picked up the phone, I can't, maybe it was a Zoom call, I can't remember. There's so many ways to communicate, right?
Yeah.
Um, and said, let's have a conversation. My first thought was actually, I knew about Acorn long before I'd heard of GoHealth. So I've been the chief exec of GoHealth for 10 years, I think now. But I knew about Acorn long before that. So, it's very much been in my world for a long time as well. And particularly, I think, just to highlight the listening course. I knew Acorn, I knew it had something to do with healing, and I knew it had something to do with listening. And over the last 10 years, when I've been out and about with my team, growing a movement of people that really want to connect health and faith together, working with Christians in churches. So often, Kris, somebody would say, "Oh, but we've done the Acorn listening course."
Yeah.
So, my mind, that is a vital bit of training for Christians
Mhm.
that made a lasting impact on those who have done it. Right. So
Mm.
that's where my mind went when we picked up the phone. But more
Yeah.
broadly, knowing, we both work in Christian healing world, the way in which over the years Acorn has carefully held, cherished, and shared the prayer healing ministry of Jesus Christ with Christians, with communities around the world, and inspiring them to be confident in that. So I've always seen us as allies, both about this really important work that's so needed in the world.
Mm. I
And
mean, Acorn's legacy continues, whether where it finds its roots. You've almost answered the question, but I wanted to hear kind of what your impressions were about the gifts that Acorn offers, the gifts that we bring. I mean, you've shared your experience of the legacy, but moving forward, are there any kind of things that jump out at you as the sparkly diamonds within the constellation of Acorn?
yeah. Well, yes, I've named it. I think it's the listening course. As a kind of pickup thing you can look at, point at. It's such a strong thing. But it's your legacy. And that is much harder to kind of quantify
Yeah,
and paint a picture of. And you said it already, I think, just in our brief chat, you're talking about the roots that are planted and so on, because your logo is the acorn, isn't it? I'd love
yeah.
to know more about that image, that
Huh.
metaphor, and how that's part of the story, and maybe how that's informing, where Acorn might be going next.
Yeah, I think that one of the things when we were redoing the logo for Acorn last year, we wanted to put the cross at the heart of the logo to remind people that Christ is at the heart of our story. And so this little picture of an acorn became a reminder that Christ is at the heart of our mission. And then the idea of a logo, we recently had an intentional time of prayer amongst our volunteers, and we really kind of had prayer around this shape of the future of Acorn. And of course, the metaphor of of the acorn itself became very much a part of the vision that we were all experiencing from God, that it was a time to plant the acorn, to share the acorn, to let go of the control of acorn, to let the legacy of acorn be what it would be, and just to
Mm,
sort of trust God with it. And it's hard after 40 years of a charity kind of doing its own thing independently to suddenly be feeling that the Holy Spirit is leading you to new ground to be planted. But that is kind of what we were discerning together, and it was beautiful. It was emotional. There were lots of tears, but there was lots of joy. And I think when we really settled on the idea that GoHealth is where God is calling us to plant the seed of Acorn and to plant the legacy, I think there was kind of relief, but also grief. And I think that's kind of where we are today. That sort of reluctant joy to say, Lord, take care of this precious thing, and that we just have to grow in our faith that God is faithful and won't leave or forsake the people of Acorn, and I think something new might grow from this trust. Um, and I think this is a tender time for the people who've been a part of Acorn's journey for a long time, and I think the conversations between Acorn and Go Health, I've really been encouraged when I watch how we deliberately explore how to kind of trust God through the transitions and how we might find ways to bring healing to everyone that's involved. And but I think there's still folks at Acorn that need encouragement today. I think that's a fair statement. And we are in a time, I guess you could call it a season of change. Maybe all of life is a season of change, but maybe, Gillian, I trust your wisdom and your faithfulness, and perhaps you might have some encouragement to offer the Acorn people during this time, because I've
Yeah.
come to love and trust you, and I think you might have something to offer them.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for. I mean, what I'm always struck by working with you and talking with you is your radical honesty and wisdom and understanding of the situation as it is, and naming that, because that's kind of the beginning of wisdom, isn't it? Naming
Mm,
the truth of the situation, and it is a real moment of transition. And over the course of the history of GoHealth, we've had moments of transition too. We don't have time to get into our history,
yeah.
but that moment of transition, of standing at the junction, standing in the threshold, and wondering what, it's a liminal moment. But what remains true, I think, is what's always been true in Acorn and has always been true in GoHealth, that strong call and vocation. That's a word we love at GoHealth, the
Mm,
vocation to be a healing presence in the world. And that is unchanging through this season. So I think
mm,
it's right to name the grief and to express
mm,
it and everything that comes with that, alongside deep gratitude for
yeah.
what amazing things has happened through GoHealth. So that's both through the grief and the gratitude. But what remains unchanged, aside from God, is that call to be healing presences in the world, to stand with people
Mm,
who are suffering and to bring in the name of Jesus into these places. And that doesn't change. And you know what, Kris? If anything, I mean, you know this, that the need for folk to carry that into the world is needed more than ever. There
oh,
are
so it
so many.
really is.
Yeah, given what we're going through at the moment, people carrying wounds in their body, in their mind, in their spirit. So our shared ministry of healing prayer,
Mm,
offered with compassion and faith, as people in organizations, is an extraordinary gift to the church and
yeah.
to the wider world. So I personally, on behalf of GoHealth and all our members, we're a team together, want to extend a really warm, open and heartfelt invitation to anyone associated with Acorn, your friends, your people, your tribe over the years.
Mm,
You are welcome to find a home for your ministry with us, a home for your passion to share the healing love of Jesus. You will find genuinely a welcome. You will, and an invitation not just to come in. We're not a club you need to join or anything. It's a place to come and join in. And we are excited and can't wait to learn from your wisdom, to
mm,
learn from your experience, to be inspired by your faithfulness.
mm,
In GoHealth, you will find resources, training, online gatherings, prayer ministries, lots of things. Come to the website, check it out. But most importantly, I hope what you will find, what our members find, is a place where you can flourish in your vocation to be a healing present. It's not a club you join, it's a
no,
community. It's a community you become part of. That's what we are, that's what we're growing in, where people, everyone, you can contribute, shape our vision, and help us to discern together how to be a healing presence in the world.
mm,
So
mm.
that's what I hope to offer, Kris, and say to people, if your
Wonderful.
heart is drawn to the ministry of healing, and you're wondering where to find a new home in this new season, we'd love you to come and explore with Go Health, because that
That's
vocation
great.
doesn't change, does it?
It is kind of providential in a weird way. You may not know this, but you were filming the podcast with the then Bishop of London
Oh,
the
yes.
day before I went to see Bishop Sarah, now Archbishop Sarah.
Yeah.
And it was so strange that you had just had a time with her, and the next day I was with her talking about healing and reconciliation and
Yeah.
renewing my license with her, and I said something about Go Health. And it
Yes.
was, I had no idea that you had just been there. And she was like, "Oh, GoHealth is wonderful. It's marvelous." And
Oh.
I thought therein was this affirmation that we're doing it together. Let's do it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to have her love and support behind what we do, I think, is because she actually echoed what you just said. She said, "We need this now more than ever. We need work on healing and listening and reconciliation more than ever. The church is desperate and hungry for what we're doing."
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of excited to have that sort of affirmation coming from the top of the church.
Mm,
And it means that there are open doors
yeah.
for the future and for what God might be planning to do in the coming months. So it's exciting.
It's exciting. So yeah, well, let's take it. We'll take her endorsement. But we
Yeah,
both know it's the folk on the ground that we're empowering them to do this ministry. So together. So listen, Kris, I'm really glad we had time to record this short chat together. I really hope
right.
it's going to be useful for anyone who tunes in and listens. But Kris, as we close, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Gosh, I sit here today fully aware of the legacy of Bishop Morris and his wife, so many others who wore this path that I'm walking on today, and Reverend Russ and Wes and so many other people who faithfully led hubs, and the thousands of people who've received prayer over the years who've come in and received healing prayer, and there have been miracles. There's been stories of just joy, and I mean, so many people have learned how to be better listeners from the resources that Acorn has. I mean, the NHS and schools and all the wonderful legacy that reaches around the world. And so I'm humbled that here I am with this amazing legacy, but it fills me with great joy thinking that that's not stopping. All of that doesn't stop. When Acorn stops, it gets planted. And it's exciting for me to think that this is going to be a new springtime, and that one acorn, it takes an acorn to break before life can come forth. And I think the brokenness of the Acorn charity becomes a possibility for new life and new growth. And there'll be a forest full of new trees because we dared to plant an acorn.
Mm. I love, let's end there. And that's a really beautiful ecological metaphor, isn't it? Of new life, deeply reflecting what we believe theologically we have through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Kris, I give thanks to God for you, for your
Thank you.
ministry, and for I look forward to seeing what God's up to in this season as season
Thank
together.
you. Thank
Okay,
you so much. God bless.
God bless you too.